Cowbunga, y'all. Calvin Beardo here. It's been a while. Missed your guys' beautiful faces. But today I got a theory for you about the Spider-Man movies that are coming out. And it may change once we get another trailer for any one of these Spider-Man movies that's part of the Spider-Man universe anyway. But before we do, if you do like this, end up liking this video, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Because I do want to do more theory videos later on. And I probably will do another theory video once a Spider-Man trailer drops, or Venom trailer, or whatever trailer drops next. I'll do a theory on it, hopefully. But yeah, so let's get into kind of like a breakdown of what news has been going on and my theory for what is actually going to be happening within these Spider-Man movies that are coming out in 2021 in the future. Because I think a lot of news sources are getting like close to what the movies are going to be like, but I think they're missing crucial points from other movies, and just the fact that like some theories I just don't necessarily agree with, like time travel. I never like when movies do time travel, so I don't think that's actually going to happen within this thing. It could, but I don't think it's specifically not going to necessarily happen within this, the grand scheme of what Marvel is doing or Sony is doing with their Spider-Man properties. Anyway, I wrote down on my phone some things. I probably missed a lot of things that have news-wise and like set leaks or Easter eggs within videos or anything like that. So if you do know some, just leave them down in the comments. But first off, I want to start off with some things that we do know, and that is, first off, we're supposed to be getting a Venom movie. It was supposed to come out in October, but obviously that got delayed. So my thing is with that is that we know Carnage is going to be in there. I don't know if we know anything else about Venom or anything like that. I can speculate that we're going to probably get the white spider symbol on his chest or something like that. It's going to be Venom versus Carnage. There's some rumors I think that Spider-Man is going to actually be in there, so there's that. So hold on to that. And then the next movie was going to be Morbius, or actually Morbius was supposed to come out before Venom Let There Be Carnage. But anyway, we did get a Morbius trailer and some set photos. With the set photos, we got Kraven written on a truck. We got a Daily Bugle sign/poster on a bus. We got a Sam Raimi style Spider-Man poster that says murder on it. It's actually a still from the PlayStation 4 game or costume. And then at the very end of the trailer, we see Vulture or Michael Keaton from the MCU Spider-Man show up. Then here's another thing that we do know for a fact is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was originally supposed to have Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire in there, part of voice acting, but they didn't get them in time for that particular movie. And we do know that there's a trailer it's a trailer for Into the Spider-Verse 2, which I'm very excited about. That just has different Spider-Man logos in there and stuff like that. So we had that coming. But now we get into this next Spider-Man movie, which a lot of people are theorizing is actually going to be called Spider-Man Homeworlds or something like that. But listing all these things that from Morbius, Venom, and Into the Spider-Verse and all that other movies, Spider-Man adjacent movie stuff, I don't think it's going to be Homeworlds necessarily. We probably get an end credit scene for it. We'll probably get some Easter eggs here and there, but let me say what is confirmed within Spider-Man 3 so far. So in Spider-Man 3, we got Electro from the Amazing Spider-Man movies coming back. Jamie Foxx, he actually died in Amazing Spider-Man. We're going to be getting J. Jonah Jameson, J.K. Simmons. We saw him at the end of Spider-Man 2, Far From Home. We're going to get Dr. Octopus, Alfred Molina, reprising his role, who actually died in Spider-Man 2 in 2004 movie. I think it's 2004 was when that movie came out. And then we also know that Doctor Strange is probably going to be the mentor figure for Spider-Man within the movie. And then obviously we got a Spider-Man 3 set photo of him crouching down wearing a mask, and we see a sleeve. And others have theorized that that sleeve could be Andrew Garfield's character, or Ben Parker, or something like that, his Uncle Ben, or something like that. And then what is rumored, this is still rumored, even though it is highly likely, is that Tobey Maguire is returning, because there's people have been seeing him get like a costume wardrobe fitting, so he could return as Spider-Man. Rumors for Andrew Garfield to return as Spider-Man. For Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone's character, to return in the movie. However, she also died in Amazing Spider-Man. Notice there's a lot of people actually dying here that have already died. Anyway, we're going to get Kirsten Dunst, MJ, from the Spider-Man movies trilogy. And then there's also a rumor that we're going to get Daredevil's Charlie Cox from the Netflix TV series. So that's a whole bunch of just random things that I've kind of gathered, and like that there's been theories about with the movies and things like that. And one popular theory that I've been hearing, and that's been rubbing the wrong way, is the time travel thing. And it's like, or that it's going to be that this movie is going to be a Spider-Verse movie. I don't think that's going to be the case, because I think it's actually going to be, this movie is going to be very simple. It's going to be Spider-Man on the run, simply from the media, and he's going to be trying to figure out a way to keep his identity sane, or he's going to be running away from whatever villain is going to be in the movie. And remember, we don't actually know what villain the primary villain is going to be. So he's going to be on the run, because J.K. Simmons from the Daily Bugle actually outed him, and that Daily Bugle is a different Daily Bugle than the one that's posted on Morbius and from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going to be on the run. My theory is that Spider-Man's going to be on the run. He's going to try contacting as many Avengers for help or whatever he needs to kind of stay incognito. But I think he's going to run into Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange is going to be going somewhere like, oh yeah, there's some weird things happening since we've destroyed the Infinity Stones. Something that's bigger, crazier. There might be a bigger villain coming around. There might be something weird that's happening. And it's so Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are going to kind of team up and just kind of progress through the movie. And I think the villain, yeah, sure, we got Dr. Octopus and Electro coming into the movie. However, I think it's kind of too late for these news of these actors to be jumping in there to actually be the main villains. They might show up and like kind of like show who they are and things like that, but I think it's actually going to be Chameleon, because we did see him. I forget the guy's name, what the Chameleon's actual name is, but we did kind of see him part of the Stereo group, because he was kind of interacting with Mysterio and kind of coming with that multiverse theory that Mysterio came from the multiverse. So I think it's actually going to be him using some of the leftover technology from Mysterio to kind of camouflage himself as a Spider-Man. And here's where it gets interesting. I think he's going to be, because obviously there's going to be new costume, like there's going to be a new costume in this movie. No doubt about that. My theory continues with that he's actually going to be robbing stores, like doing some crime stuff in a Spider-Man costume. This is Chameleon in Spider-Man's costume. However, every time he robs whatever store it is or whoever he has with him robbing a store, it's going to be a different iteration of the Spider-Man suit that we've seen throughout all the movies. We're going to see Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man costume. We're going to see Tobey Maguire's, so on and so forth. And it's going to be like this whole thing of Doctor Strange and Spider-Man are going to have to take him down with it, and it's going to be mostly Tom Holland Spider-Man taking down Chameleon. But here's where I think it gets interesting. There's going to be a Doctor Strange in the middle of the movie is going to find that is going to say that there's a leak, and that's when we do see Electro and Doctor Octopus kind of roaming around the streets or whatever. But Electro and Doctor Octopus are not going to be from the other universes. They're already in this universe. They're just going to be a different incarnation of their character. So John Mulaney, I don't think he's going to actually have his arms yet in this movie. I think he's just going to be a doctor, going to be playing the doctor role. He's going to be pretty much innocent for the most part within this movie. And maybe at the end, like he gets like his arms, or it's going to be or he's going to be seen with a different arms. Electro, rumors is that he's not going to actually be blue. So I think he's going to actually get his powers and actually have the iconic costume, or he's going to be more yellow adjacent with that stuff. So I think there are going to be characters within this movie, but they're not going to actually be from the other movies. And Doctor Strange is going to see them and go, "You look familiar from another universe." And like they could be teaming up with Chameleon or something like that, but they're going to be from this universe specifically. J.K. Simmons is from this universe specifically with how he does media and things like that. It's a different Daily Bugle, different everything. I think these characters are different. And then we got the rumors for Kirsten Dunst returning. Now I think it could very well be that she is already in this universe and just kind of walking around as Mary Jane, and is just older, or it's going to simply be we're just going to see her as an end credit scene. But I think this movie is just going to be possibly just those three villains that they're taking down. There's going to be like Doctor Strange is going to start seeing the connections of like, wait, you look like you're already a villain in a different universe that I can kind of see. So Spider-Man is going to be taking down Chameleon, possibly these two villains that are going to be new for this universe, and they're going to have their origins rooted within this universe. We might also see Vulture. We might also see possibly Scorpion, because we saw an end credit scene with him in there. And we might see a version of Morbius in this movie. All these characters are going to be their own version within this movie. They're not going to be a previous version. At least I don't think, for the most part, within this whole movie. And I think that Daredevil Charlie Cox could show up as Daredevil, or at least Peter Parker's lawyer, throughout this movie as well. However, I don't think he's going to be the same Daredevil that was in the Daredevil Netflix TV show. He could be, because that series is kind of loosely based off of the MCU. So they could just kind of retcon him in there, or they could just simply have him be his own version within this universe and kind of tell like what he was doing during the events of the Infinity War or Infinity Saga anyway. But I think so. Movie's gonna be pretty straightforward. It's gonna be a regular Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland taking on a Chameleon or one of these two villains that's going to be set up within this movie, or one of these many villains that is set up within his universe within this movie, and probably take on J. Jonah Jameson with the media and things like that, and possibly have Daredevil be his lawyer and kind of do a lawsuit against J. Jonah Jameson. But the end credit scene, here's why I think it's going to be important that Doctor Strange is the mentor figure, and that while we get Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and their girlfriends and things like that here, I think that it's just simply going to be an end credit scene. We're going to see Doctor Strange looking out looking out, and there's going to be a web, and we're going to see the Spider-Verse web. I forget what it's actually called, but yeah, the Spider-Verse web, and there's going to be scenes all across of the Spider-Verse. We're going to see the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse characters, like cartoon characters there. They don't have to say anything, so they can just simply have them drawn there. We're going to have Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst possibly doing the kissing scene, the upside down kissing scene, or simply swinging, doing something that is related to their movies, or kind of showing how that version of Spider-Man retired, or something of that aspect that kind of shows a little bit of like what he's been up to within his universe. We're going to get the Andrew Garfield in his universe, kind of dealing with Gwen Stacy's death and maybe taking on a villain or the Sinister Six or something in his, and we're just going to get a clip of that, of him doing something. We're going to get Morbius and in his own little sphere, and we're also going to get Venom in his own sphere, and Doctor Strange is going to turn towards the camera and go, Spider-Man, this is crazy, but you're not the only Spider-Man, and it seems like a lot of these characters from other universes have already leaked into our universe, or at least their counterparts have been starting to show up in our universe with their own special abilities. Whatever, it's either going to Spider-Man say what the F, or it's going to have, here's what I think is going to happen. It's going to have Gwen Stacy as Spider-Woman show up, or Ghost Spider, whatever her character name is, but Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man character, show up. It's going to be played by Emma Stone. She's going to show up, and she's going to be like, what the F? Looking at Tom Holland, because she's going to be like, I'm in the wrong universe. I think that's what's going to happen. And all this Spider-Verse stuff is just going to start melding together. Because I think it's totally possible that characters can reprise their roles but play different versions of their characters. And this way, there doesn't need to be time travel. It can just be simply in-universe for the MCU. It can make sense with the MCU universe, like all these characters already existed and things like that. It will explain why in Morbius we saw a Vulture and why we see different things, because they have their own version of those characters within their universe. But everything starts blending into each other because there's no more Infinity Stones or anything like that. And it would also make sense for everything to kind of come together, because all these theories are only looking at Spider-Man 3. Set photos, theories. Into the Spider-Verse, set photos, number 2 rumors, and trailers. Morbius trailers, you get my point. So I think it's actually going to be way more cohesive, a lot more recognizing of these actors or actresses within Spider-Man 3, but they're not going to be playing their older characters. They're going to play a similar character to who they were. And I think here's what I think would be cool. Is, yes, we saw that set photo of Spider-Man crouching with the mask on, and there's like a sleeve in the thing. I think it would be interesting if we got a flashback at the very beginning that showed that Ben Parker, his Uncle Ben, in this universe was actually Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. I think that would be awesome for one of them to be Uncle Ben. And I think it would also be awesome if the other one, whoever is an Uncle Ben, is actually his father. And they kind of like do some aging effects for the character for either one of them to make it make sense for this universe. And it's I think it would be amazing if they did it that way, because in that way we kind of go, oh, Tobey Maguire did exist. Tobey Maguire was Richard Parker in this universe. That's pretty cool. Andrew Garfield was Ben Parker in this universe, but they both died, and that's why we've never seen them in this universe until this flashback. And that's why when at the very end when he sees the web, his kind of has like that face of like, I recognize all these people. That's my Uncle Ben. That's my dad. But it's because they're in these other universes were actually the Spider-Man. And I think like the next films that could come out could elaborate on this, like Into the Spider-Verse 2 could elaborate with actually having some elements of the live action Spider-Verse in there. Morbius can tie him a little bit closer. Venom can have like an appearance from a Spider-Man to get the white emblem, or even the other Venom in that Venom movie. That'd be cool to have Spider-Man 3 Venom and Let There Be Carnage. I think that'd be dope. And then like kind of start having like crossovers, things like that, and just kind of build up to like this all-time Spider-Verse movie. That's kind of an end to the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse trilogy, because I think that'd be a cool way to kind of end that trilogy, to like make it into a trilogy, and kind of end it by like this all-out like animation and games and movie like live action all together in its own separate thing. There'd be some spin-off movies, obviously, to kind of conclude the different eras of Spider-Man, like the Amazing Spider-Man 3 versus the Sinister Six. I think that would be cool. I think that's totally on the table that they could very well just pull off and just kind of end off that character. Sam Raimi Spider-Man, have a fourth one and have it and kind of end off with him dying or something like that. And or just like him getting married and just kind of ending that series off. Just kind of end off these series. Doctor Strange 2 into Multiverse of Madness. I think that's where it's going to actually dive into. Oh shoot, there's a Spider-Verse going on, but yet the Infinity Stones did not just do the Spider-Verse stuff, but also did a hodgepodge of mutant universes stuff, like Fox Universe stuff, and all these timelines and all these Avengers and all this crazy stuff is happening with the MCU multiverse. So there's going to be two different multiverses kind of seen into Multiverse of Madness, but it's going to be kind of cool to like see this way. So then that way kind of gets to, because there's lots of multiverses. It's a multiverse. But yeah, sorry if I kind of rambled here and there with my thoughts or whatever, but one more thing. Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness, it's also going to be directed by Sam Raimi. So that's why I think he's going to be able to tie all this stuff together as well from the Sam Raimi verse into Doctor Strange verse. But to sum up all my thoughts, everything into a simple, cohesive thought, here's what I think the future of the Spider-Man movies are going to be. We're going to get Spider-Man 3. It's going to be pretty straightforward of Spider-Man Tom Holland being on the run. We're going to possibly see some familiar villains appear, but they're not going to be villains from other universes. They're going to be this universe versions of those villains. Doctor Strange is going to help out. It won't be until the very end that there's going to be an end-credit scene of the Spider-Verse. There's going to be a Amazing Spider-Man 3 to end off that series. There's going to be a fourth Spider-Man movie for the Sam Raimi trilogy to end off that series. And there's going to be a Into the Spider-Verse 2 to kind of tie in live action to the cartoon version. Into the Spider-Verse, there's going to be a conclusion of all this stuff in Into the Spider-Verse 3, with live action and animated coming together. And Doctor Strange Multiverse Madness is going to be a hodgepodge of the MCU multiverse and Spider-Man multiverse. Oh, and I also did forget about Scarlet Witch. There's going to be a little bit of her magic mixed in with to bring in the mutants or whatever else within the Fox universe and make everything more cohesive within everything Spider-Man comics, games, movies, everything to come together and kind of keep this ball rolling. But I absolutely do not think they're going to rush into it. I don't think Kevin Feige would rush into a Spider-Verse movie right off the get-go. He's obviously going to be building it, and that's why I'm saying like there's going to be many more movies after this one that's going to be announced for the Spider-Man character. Plus, we don't want there to be too much in the Spider-Man movie, or at least I don't, in the Spider-Man trilogy, in the Spider-Man third movie, because we already saw what happened with Spider-Man 3. We saw what happened with Amazing Spider-Man 2. There's too much stuff, too many characters, too many focuses. So that's why I'm doubting that this movie will have it. So, yeah, that's my theory. That's my whole Spider-Man spiel. If you did like this video, again, please leave a like. Comment down below your thoughts, your theories, or like if you disagree with me on some points, or if you want more clarifications, or if you want me to refine this video, please leave it down and subscribe. It will help out the video a lot. I'm going to try posting more videos more and more as we're getting to Christmas time, and frankly I have a lot of reviews to do and YouTube ideas to do, so I want to make sure I get to most of them before the new year, so that way new year I can start fresh and bring this channel to a full-on course for content. So without further ado, feel the beard, deuces, and see you in the next video.